Hi, I'm Stuart Taylor. I used to shoot a television show called Going Nowhere Slowly, which is exactly how most creatives have felt during this pandemic, like they are going nowhere slowly, except for a few of them. Some of them have been flying during this lockdown time, and I'm joined by two of those flying creatives. Davina Gordon, Donovan Goliath. How's it going, guys?
Well, thanks. How are you, brother? I'm so glad you got our surnames right because a lot of people get it wrong.
I'm so
I practiced all night long. I was like, don't say Donovan Gordon.
You
know how happy you would have made her.
Yo, I'm so happy.
You guys have really taken to the whole lockdown thing. I mean, was there any disruption to your plans when the lockdown happened? Did you guys have any major projects that had to be put on hold where you were kind of like, man, this really is a big bummer?
We had a few gigs cancelled.
You had a one-man show or one-woman show.
Oh yeah, I did. I had to put
that's a big thing. That's a big thing, Davina.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that little thing.
Yeah, look,
was that just on Davina's on your solo show? Was that your first solo show?
Yeah, it's just I've been performing a lot on Instagram, so I decided to do a show last year. Already, I decided to do it, and I was meant to do it last year November, but because there was no time, and it's gig season also, I thought it wouldn't be the best time, so I decided to postpone it to May of this year, not knowing that we were going to have this pandemic thrown on us, so I had to put that on hold, and it's just kind of a debut for me because I'm doing a lot of original stuff, like with some well-known producers in Johannesburg. So yeah, that would have been a lot of firsts, actually. First original stuff, first big performance, for the public. So I was really looking forward to that. But now we're working our way around it. I'm still gonna release an EP and stuff. So we're gonna just flip the script a little bit and do it differently.
A bit more incubation period.
Yeah.
and you, Don, on your side, big things that was kind of where
there was an opportunity to go and do a long gig in Morocco as well, which was on the cards. We had planned to go to JFL this year. And Goliath. Yeah, man.
And we were planning to go to New York together.
Yes, we were planning to go to New York
as a holiday, and now New York is the eye of the storm.
It's the eye of the storm. It is the eye of the storm. It's best to be avoided for the next little while.
Yeah.
We're a little bit sad, but yeah, what can you do?
But you guys did not you didn't waste the crisis.
No.
That is the most amazing thing. I mean, it felt as though you started small. You just started doing what it is that you do. And then gradually this grew into a machine.
Snowballed, yeah.
Yes, it snowballed. That is the word. Talk us through your mindset at the beginning of this pandemic, the start of the lockdown, where you were then versus how you see everything now and what you've created.
Look, we decided very early on that we're probably not going to be on stage for the next year or so, so we just already gave ourselves that long-term goal. And we were like, look, the way we've always approached social media is that it's another stage to perform on. It's another place to showcase, and I've always maintained that as creatives or as entertainers, you have to entertain or you have to create, if you're going to be part of these platforms, and especially now during this time, I think that it was really great when we had put out our first piece, which, the one piece that really, I think sparked this was, the COVID couture, the fashion parody posters that we did. We did the first one, and that, got major attention. And the feedback that we got from that was, man, you guys made me so happy, even just for a few minutes, and made me forget that we're in a pandemic. So I think that became the fuel to go, oh, shucks. I think we've got a little bit of a service here that we need to, attend to and put out. So that's what we started doing, and what we didn't want to do, and I think what we both don't like doing is one thing, so we're multidisciplined, and we just kind of, we figured out a way to combine what I do with what Davina does. So we did a lot of the parody, I challenged her to play 10 movie sounds. which is something that nobody had seen before. So every day we would come up with a new idea that was weird to us, which would obviously be weird to everybody else out there. And we just kept putting it out, until we got our first call to say, hey, this brand wants to collaborate with you guys because of what they've seen, which is such a bonus. It's so nice when people buy what you're selling, basically,
Yes.
So it was just a natural kind of fit, VW was the first one we did. And then
it was
more and more
unexpected.
Totally unexpected. Yeah. And I mean, we weren't even gunning for that. We were just like, let's keep ourselves fresh. Because for us, we were like, when this ends, we still want to be relevant and top of mind, as you know, our job requires us to be in front of people, and to like PR is a big thing. If your face is not on the poster, if your name is not being called out on the radio ad, blah blah blah, you kind of disappear into the ether. So we were like, this is a personal branding project. And let's keep ourselves strong, let's keep ourselves relevant, but let's also keep ourselves funny and creatively fit, so when we do come out of this, you're not starting from zero again. At least you've got a little bit of a launch pad, and that was pretty much it for us,
and also keep ourselves.
I mean, that really is that's a lot of things you say. The first thing I pick up is the fact that you really embraced where we were. The idea that you decided early on that, well, we're probably here for a year. I mean, that is a thing that, for me, I was very much one of the people, hey, first 21 days, thank goodness, I really needed a break. I felt like I was fatigued. I felt like I was overwhelmed by the previous 18 months, and I just didn't have any downtime. And I felt like I was in an ashram for the first 20 days. Yoga, and it was beautiful.
A lot of introspection happening, I guess.
Full on. And I remember I spoke to Jason, and Jason was the first person who said to me, Stu, we're in here for the long haul. I was like, Jay, you crazy. You spend too much time with the mainstream media. You're listening to that Kaya FM voice every morning. We'll be okay. The fact that you had the foresight to go, listen, this is a long-term project, I think is part of the part of your success, because then you go, this is the new normal. Let's create now.
Yeah.
So that's a very valid thing. And then also the fact that there are two of you, does that help you to keep each other accountable?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely it does. It's very difficult, I think what we do need to tell people that, because we come from two very different disciplines, to mash those two up and create something new was a bit of a challenge in the beginning, until we found a rhythm. So we found what people like.
It's still a challenge.
I'm a bit of a control freak, and this is my advertising art director background. So I don't settle with just one take. We got to do it multiple times till we find the right thing. I'm all about the detail. Davina doesn't like doing multiple takes. She's very thorough. She's like, we've got it. So yeah, we had to, we still have a lot of those hurdles, which is a good thing, because it pushes us to always break mediocrity, so we constantly like seeing how far we can take this, and until we're both happy, we're not going to put anything out. Just to add to the previous thing, Anelem Doda actually said something so interesting to us. She said, man, you guys have been on fire during this time. It seems like the captivity gave you guys freedom. And I really like that, because we've always, I think as comedians, we make a big mistake, and I'll speak on behalf of comedians here. Well, not on behalf of comedians, I'll speak as a comic. But I think we limit ourselves to one discipline a lot of times. And some of us can do that. Some of us go, this is all I do, and you put 5,000% into that. But I'm a holistic creative person, and comedy is one of the things I can do. So for the longest time, for me, I think I was kind of, I was blocking myself a little bit, by trying to only do comedy, because you trick yourself into thinking this is all you should do. And now, because once that's been taken away from me, all these, that box in my head just unlocks, and it goes, hey, we're here as well. Remember that you're a designer, you're an art director, you're a visual artist, you're this, you're that. Let's bring that up, but always make sure that these things are humorous, because that's what people know you for, Same with Davina.
Same with me. I mean, I had no idea that I had this creative side that existed in me, you know, and only until lockdown, I was just like, oh, okay, so I have this in me. Let's just allow it to flourish, you know, and that's been such a great learning experience.
But apart from that, when people think of a violin, they think of classical music.
Yeah.
It's very rigid. It's one direction. So what you've been able to
I
do
don't
during
play
this time,
any One Direction songs for what it's worth.
so what you've been able to do is just unpack that,
Yeah.
diversify it, and make it fun and make it cool again, you know, which I think is great. You know, I think you just open up a whole new world for yourself. Just use, like, explore, and every
But
day you
apart
go,
from
what
the
else?
music, it's the other stuff that we've
Yes,
been doing. That's
yes.
what I'm referring to as well, you know. I mean, I've always had I'd like to say that I've always had a great sense of humor, and I've just allowed it to come out more.
To flourish. There's, as creatives, we often, we revere the purists. As stand-ups, we revere the purists because they are seen as the true artists.
Yes.
Because they fully embrace themselves, embrace that one discipline. So you go, the purist is always going to be the person who's, he just had a mic and a mic stand. He didn't have any of the other thing. So he relied solely on the technique of what he was doing. Then and I fall into that trap all of the time. But you're absolutely right in terms of going, this thing did allow you to go, no, man, I'm so much more. And then the people, it's what was fun is funny is that 99% of the time, the people who are more commercially successful are the ones who diversify. So Kevin Hart goes, am I a comic? Am I a producer? Am I a writer? Am I, you know what I mean? And then are you a director? What are you today? You don't have to be a purist. As you say, make sure that it's always funny or it's always entertaining, but you can certainly challenge what you do.
And like, who makes the rules, you know, especially in 2020,
especially now.
Yes, during a pandemic. I mean, there are no rules, you know, throw that away.
No.
The biggest mistake you can make, I think, is if you try and take what you do on stage and just slap it onto this medium. It's never going to work. I think you have to respect these platforms now. You know, and I mean, I like that you brought up the corporate thing because, you know, I've done 2 or 3 where it's so weird. Like, they'll ask you to do 10 minutes of stand-up and you go, let me not do stand-up because it's not going to work. How about I kind of go back and forth with the CEO who's also on, but turn his audio on so that we can have a conversation and everybody else who's watching this goes, oh, there's an interaction happening because that lends itself to the medium. You know, it's a chat medium. So how about we do that? So let it be a funny conversation more than just stand up, because it's awkward for everybody, especially in a corporate environment where nobody has paid to watch you do a set. So there's no expectation. Hard enough doing it in real life. You know, hard enough doing it in real life, convincing people out of no, oh, there's a comic now. Okay, now you've got to warm them up. This is even worse, you know. So how do you get the one thing that we've always tried to live by? I mean, everything that we've shot, everything that we've worked on has all been on cell phone. It's basic resources, you know. And a lot of people don't believe us. A lot of people go, no, man, surely you had a photographer, surely this, surely that. And I said, no, I think during this time, if you're going to call yourself a creative, you also have to be creative with your resources. You know, you got to be creative with the things that you're putting out. And when you do a corporate gig, you must be creative with how you put your stuff out there. You know, you got to succumb to the fact that this is not like it used to be before. You got to learn new ways and find something that sticks, find something that works. Because there's no rule book for this. Nobody anticipated doing comedy on Zoom. You know what I mean? So
no.
And it's not going to work for all of us because we all have different styles as well.
Back to something you just said now about using the very basic resources. What I loved was the post you guys put out about the fact that here's how we shoot what we shoot. I mean, you were doing pretty much a full-on ad campaign using a cell phone as a camera, Davina's music stand, and the wall you are sitting at right now.
And a desk lamp to light it.
And a desk lamp.
Because people they're always asking what studio do we use, who's our photographer, and we're like, no, man, this doesn't require all of the frills, you know.
I mean, where did you it boggles my mind that you managed to take that very basic resource and push it to a point where those things really could have been shot in a studio anywhere in the world. It could have been a multi-million-dollar campaign because
Well,
it was
luckily,
so,
Don is also very nifty with Photoshop, so I guess that also
right,
helps a lot.
right. That does help.
You know, you have the
You know, it's that, but it's also, you know, I think that we're slaves to technology and to equipment. You know, a lot of times we go, so somebody will buy a MacBook because they think that's what you need if you're gonna, you know, if you wanna write like amazing articles, you need a MacBook Air or whatever. Nope. If you want to take amazing pictures, oh, go and get the new Canon 7D, blah, blah, blah. No, I think you got to have the idea first. You know, if the idea is not good, it doesn't matter. The equipment's not going to do anything for you. And the thing is, we're always being told that, I mean, an iPhone can shoot in 4K, right? That's pretty hectic, you know, but there's a small handful of people who actually use that resource, you know, and we were like, well, if it can shoot at this quality, and there's cheating the system again. So what we did was we looked at, so every ad we had put out, so say we did a Levi's ad, we would look at Levi's posters and see how they shoot them and go, oh, let's mimic that lighting style. You mimic the lighting style, you make it black and white because that's what people recognize when they see a Levi's poster. So all you're doing is you're just cutting out a few steps for when they see it, automatically the brain processes and goes, oh, this looks like a fashion pose. That looks like lighting they would use in a fashion shoot. This is where the logo would go. This is the size the logo would be at. So every day we look at things, we look at ads without realizing that your brain processes the template, right? Without you even knowing that it's processing. So the next time you see it, you go, why does this look so familiar? Why does this look like a fashion post? Because you see what I mean? So I think for us, we were like, okay, because we don't have such big resources, let's just take a couple of steps away from people and let's get it as close to the original as possible so that there's not too much for people to figure out. It's instant.
But also that logo is so familiar.
Yeah.
You know, you can't you can't not think of a catalog.
Sorry.
But you're stepping up the creativity. You know what I love is that you're showing me that there's work in what you're doing. So many artists, we wait for inspiration to strike.
Yes.
Inspiration strikes, and then you do the bare minimum to create something good enough.
Yes.
By what you are telling me right now is that inspiration had struck.
Yeah.
And then the work began.
Yes.
Like you put in the work, and that's what so many people where they lack. So I'm happy to hear that work ethic is a big part in terms of the creative thing. But just in terms of looking for those ideas, if there are creatives out there who just and they just I mean Davina, I know you had tweeted or Instagram that you were gonna throw yourself into your work in order to get through this pandemic. Besides just throwing yourself into your work, what is the one trick or tip you could give a creative so that they kind of get the juices flowing?
I think also just keeping up with current affairs, you know, that's the one thing that helped us churn out so much, was because there was always like a situation or a topic getting a lot of hype. So we would think of the topic or whatever the thing was, and then think of a brand that we could link it to, you know, and do like a whole wordplay on the brand logo or whatever the case is. So my thing is always just keep up to date with what's going on around you, because that's bound to spark some sort of creativity.
Yeah, the brief is already set for you. I think one of the hardest things during this time is that for a lot of creatives, there are no briefs. So you're sitting there with an open brief, you've got to create it. That's a very difficult thing to do.
It's very hard.
Because you can go in many different directions, right? So COVID provided a nice brief for all of us. COVID in South Africa is a more interesting brief because of, simple things. You know, the president not putting his mask on properly, that provides...
Banana bread.
The
no kissing. No kissing.
When people zol, you know, all of those things which are concepts on their own. But I think that, I did an IG live with another creative director who wanted to know the same thing. You know, he just said that his team are struggling to come up with ideas. How are you able to do it? And I said that because we're all having to display work on social media right now, right? We kind of have no choice. You know, if you're going down this direction, you have got no choice to be as vulnerable as possible and put your work out there. So what I found that a lot of people were afraid, you know, to start putting out original ideas because of what people were going to say. So a couple of things that I recommended was, there was a photographer, for example, who started a separate account and just started posting things. Nobody was following him. He was just posting for himself, and kind of got into a bit of a rhythm, got to understand his work. He looked at all of these pictures, you know, he wasn't looking at likes, he wasn't looking at engagement, he was just looking at the artwork now, and saw what he actually liked shooting. You know, when you start seeing a thread, you go, oh, this is actually my style. And then once he was comfortable, after like a month, he then moved over to his personal account and was like, cool, I'm ready to start working again. Here's my voice. I think that now more than ever, this is the best and worst time, I think, to be a creative person, because everybody's online, everybody's trying to churn stuff out. There's more and more stuff being thrown at you, and we're being influenced by so many different things that it's hard to settle and go, okay, cool, here's my thing. How does it fit into the rest of the world? So I think to start blocking out the noise, sit down, give yourself some time off, actually. Get off of social media, give yourself some time off, figure out what it is that you actually do, what it is that you like to post about, what is the thing that gives you energy, what is the thing that takes away your energy, for example, and then go back to it. Throwing yourself into this crazy, I mean, it's intense, you know, all the stuff that's being put out now online, and you know, just trying to slot yourself in is never going to work for you. I think a lot of people needed those 21 days, like you were saying, just to find the reset button, find the voice again. But you just have to start. It really is as simple as that. You know, we were just like, let's just go. The other thing is consistency. Consistency was our thing. We made a point to do a post a day, sometimes 2 posts a day. Right. For 2 months, every single day. Yeah.
That's amazing. Guys, those are some of the most incredible pearls of wisdom, from adopting and owning the platform, to consistency, to putting in the hard yards, to get a puppy so that you've got something that distracts you.
Yes.
Power to you, man. You guys really were not going nowhere during this lockdown. I mean, I applaud your creativity. Say that again.
I said we were going nowhere slowly for that matter. We were not going nowhere slowly.
Not going anywhere. And you were going everywhere fast. That's what you were doing. But listen, I applaud your creativity.
Thank you,
well done. Well done on showcasing the fact that I hope what the unspoken thing that I'm picking up is that possibly collaboration is key if you're wanting to up what it is that you do. You've given us so much to think about. I know the people who are going to watch this are going to go, wow, okay, that's lots of food for thought. Thank you very much for your time. Thanks for your energy. Thanks for the creativity you guys put out there.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you so much for having us, brother. This has been great. Take care. Shot, bro. Bye.